On the phone, we have eight-time Pro Bowler, former Houston Oiler, NFL Hall of Famer Elvin Bethea. How you doing, Mr. Bethea?
Oh, fine, and you today?
Good. I see you went to North Carolina A&T for college. How did you end up there?
The reason why I'm laughing because there's a telephone company named AT&T, and I always tell people I didn't go to a telephone company college. It was North Carolina A&T, Agriculture and Technical.
That's right. I put too many T's in there.
Yeah. I always laugh. People always say, "Oh, you went to AT&T?" No, I did not. I went to one AT. Anyway, life goes on. I enjoy it.
How did you end up
What's a guy from New Jersey ending up at North Carolina A&T, though?
Well, that was not my choice. My mother made that choice for me. I had, at that time, probably about 18 to 20 scholarships, and I really wanted to go to Villanova. That was my first school of choice. But my mother went to school with a gentleman by the name who was on a football coach by the name of Mel Grooms, and that was the end of it. She went to school with him back in her day, and that was my last say-so. I didn't have a say-so in it, so I'm glad I went. I went to a small college, and we always said if you can make it at a small black college, you can make it anywhere in the world. That was the motto.
What would have happened if you said no to your? What would have happened if you said no to your mom?
There was no such thing back then. Maybe now. no such thing.
Young man doesn't do that.
What was the transition? Sarah, go ahead.
What was the transition like going from, Trenton, New Jersey, civilization as we know it, to North Carolina A&T, which I'm sure had to be something of a culture shock for you?
Well, yes, it was quite a culture shock. From going to a school that was basically where we were very integrated. We had from every language barrier there. I mean, we were very multicultural, and then you go from there to a college, and at 18 years old to a college, and it's predominantly black, and it was a good adjustment, but I enjoyed it. And the one thing that really shocked me, the facilities there were worse than I had it at high school. But I adjusted, and everything worked out for me. I always tell people if I had to do it again, I'd do it all over again the same way.
And then you get drafted by the Houston Oilers, so then you're going even farther south.
I went southwest, and we're talking about a real culture shock, buddy. And I left North Carolina and went to my first stop over was in Kerrville, Texas. I recommend that highly for anyone from up north. You'll learn a lot there. Cactus and cactus.
Now, is that the middle of nowhere or a little bit west of the middle of nowhere?
It was a little bit west of middle of nowhere. I think it was about 80 miles west of San Antonio. And on a little hill country. Nothing was there. You didn't have Walmart there. You didn't have a Kmart. You didn't have any real restaurants to go to. They were just a little country town, and we were based at it. Our location was at a Shriner Institute, they call it, and it was just a boarding school. And the facilities were the best facilities at that time were your sleeping quarters, but everything else was back in 1940s, I think.
How did you end up there? Was this Bud Adams' choice?
This was Bud Adams' choice, yeah. But this is where it was cheap. It was a institute where just for private. It was a private school, small private. But they filled the sleeping facilities. They had dormitories, but as far as the practice facilities, it was second to none. And I mean none, because there was no air conditioning. There was no air conditioning in the unit. In the gym they had no air conditioning. We went out. The only thing that was green in that whole area was the football field. Seriously. And the temperature was always up to at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock was always at least 95 to 100. And this is the way we train. And
but they would always tell you, it's a dry heat, right?
Oh yeah, this is very dry heat. I don't know what damn difference there is, but
I was going to say, when you get to be 100 degrees, it doesn't matter a whole heck of a lot, I don't think.
no, there is no difference, believe me. But we trained there, and that's what you were there to do. Train, and we had what 6 weeks. We were there for 6 weeks, 7 weeks before you broke training camp, and there was nothing to do. No, nothing, zero. There, all you did was drink beer on the weekend. You had a scrimmage that morning, and you were off from Saturday afternoon until Sunday, and then was back to work. And it was actually strictly for training, and that's what it was good. I think it got you away from your family and other obstacles that might tend to bend your ear the wrong way.
You had some good players on those teams. Who were the leaders when you went there?
Oh, back there we were talking about Hall of Famer, Kenny Houston. He was who's now a Hall of Famer. We had Jerry Levice back then. Garland Boyette, who was. I'm trying to think of some real key name people back then.
Larry Carroll.
Wade Carroll, yes. Carroll was there. I mean, they were. I'm trying to think. I'm so old now. My mind is not there, fellas. Give me a break.
No problem. But Ken Houston, he was a great kick and punt returner, and also a quarterback.
And a cornerback, one hell of a cornerback. Anytime you can make it to the Hall of Fame from where we came back then, the teams that we were on, I mean, we didn't have a winning season at all, but that's the type of players that they had chosen, and quite a few guys made it from leaving there, going to other teams. So it was a time for everyone, and everybody enjoyed it for what little money we were making. And as I tell you before, that we were there for 6 weeks, and we were making $50 a game, and that was before taxes. After taxes, you got 46.24. But so that's what you were in training camp for, to make $50 every preseason game.
What was the adjustment like from college to pros? Did you feel that pretty early on in training camp that you belonged?
Well, and when you get there, you think you're the hottest stuff showing up, but after you get there, you find out a lot of players are above and beyond your talent, and everybody's good at that point. I mean, they're bringing in people that can help the team and hope to make the team. But in my case, I had a lot of competition back then, and I just wanted to make the team. That's all. And I didn't. As far as the money, $15,000 my first year. All I wanted to do was just have that emblem and that logo on, to wear it on my helmet, to wear it on my jacket or whatever. But that's what it was. I mean, back then you came in. They came in with 100 players, and only 40 of them were going to stay. And for me, I was lucky enough to stay. I mean, I worked my tail off because I wanted to be a Houston Oiler. Had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I enjoyed football. So, 16 years later, I'm still there.
You had 105 career sacks, but back then they didn't keep track of the sacks, an official stat. Did you actually strive to get sacks, or did that just happen by playing good defense?
Well, that's just playing. I mean, you're going in. I mean, after I realized, there were stats behind it. Every year, that's what I would build my next year on, and my goals. Whether it was tackles, and when they were keeping tackles, every year I wanted to have one more, two more better than the last year. So that was my goal, always trying to reach a higher goal and set all these numbers for myself. But this happened later. When you first start out, all I wanted to do was play. There was no goals except for making the Pro Bowl. That was an incentive that I really was after trying to make, but never thought I'd be there. Pro Bowl for 8 years. The incentive was, if you made the Pro Bowl list, you got $1,500 extra. So that was your incentive. It wasn't all that like now. And you got to the Pro Bowl, you only made, I think the winning team got 1,000, losing team got 750. But we would kill each other for the extra 250 or whatever it was. But no, the times were, I was just glad to be there, and then setting those goals. That 100 and 105, they say I still don't agree with it, but that's what they said I got at that time because no one kept any records. So I still think I would have been close to the now record of what 200 I think Bruce Smith has, but who knows? Life goes on.
You mean you don't have the game films of every game you played, and you haven't broken them down play by play?
No. I many people ask me that. Can I honestly tell you something that I did never follow? Whatever I did, I never looked back. I have books I've written. I have a lot of things accomplishments that even going into a good example. When I got chosen for the Hall of Fame, the guy that really helped me, a guy named Mark Adams, he kept every stat on me from the day I got, and I didn't. I never followed stats. I just went out to play the game. And after I saw the stats, I was impressed with my own self. I said, boy, I must have been really good. But stats never they gave me any real thing to except after I got later in the years looking at them.
So. I'm 41 now. I remember watching the Bears play the Oilers, and everybody talked about Walter Payton being the greatest running back of all time. But Earl Campbell, I would watch that guy run, and I'm like, this guy is an absolute monster. And you had to go up against him in practice.
Yeah, well, the thing was, the bum wouldn't let us go directly up. In training camp, we'd get on in 1978 when he came. We would have the second team would go against the first team always, whether offense or defense. Offense or first team would go against the second team defense, and our first team defense go against the second team offense. So we really never met up in practice. That was one thing Bum wanted to make sure that nobody got hurt. If anybody got hurt, it was the rookies or the second teamer. But no, that's one thing. We never faced each other in practice at all because that was the one thing that Bum wanted to make sure he took care of his players, and Bum was a player's coach.
What was it like? I mean, he seems like such a character, Bum Phillips.
Oh yeah.
Was he like that? Was he like that in real life?
Coaching
you guys?
More. Oh yeah, even more. I mean, he took care of us. I got to say, he took care of us. But Bum was the reason why I said he is a player's coach. I mean, he understood every player. That was amazing. I sit there and watched him, for years, and he knew each player on that team what button to push as far as getting him motivated. And that was a crazy thing because we had players that were from other teams. I call them misfits and characters, and that's what we were basically, misfit characters. We were just teams that released guys that you heard of, and then when they came to Houston, I mean, we picked up anybody and everybody that was on the trading block. But the thing is, Bum knew how to push each player's button to get him motivated. He'd come up with some corny stories, or even like the year when everybody remembers when we knocked on the door, and then first we tapped on the door, and then we knocked on the door, and next year we're going to kick the son of a bitch in, and that was a Pittsburgh game, and things like this that people still remember, crazy things that he says, but they made sense. So. But he was the type of guy that he pull you to the side and say, hey, I mean, you either get in line or get out of line because I will trade you. But you knew right from the start that where he was from. I mean, he was trying to build a team on them building themselves, and that was the greatest thing because if we had a problem with one guy, he'd come to Curly, or Pestering, and I, or Carl, and ask us to take care of the problem, and we take care of our own in-house. So that was the greatest thing about him, that he let you play the game, made sure you were fit, you were prepared, and after it was all over, it was a party after every game. There was some type of party, so that he would have set for us. So it was a great time for me, especially in the later years.
A lot of people blame him for Earl Campbell's condition, saying that he ran that guy into the ground, that he caused some of his problems.
Yeah, I've heard that often. I mean, Earl right, Earl left, Earl up the middle, and I think Earl wanted to run the ball. I mean, he was the man, and I think he proved that he was the man. But that's football. I mean, you have something that's going for you. You have a play, or you have a player that's bringing you your wins. You go with it. You go with it. I am sad to say that Earl only played 7 years, I think it was, but before now he's barely can walk. But that was football, and that you play the best. And I'm sure Earl wouldn't want to been sitting on the bench anytime. But you get out there, and once you get into the game, you're not knowing that after the effects after the game when you leave the game. But that was bum. I mean, like I said, Earl could have backed off when he wanted to, but that was Earl, and that's the way Bum saw these things, and that's why I said he knew every button for each guy, what to push, and how hard to push it. So
now you played your entire career with the Houston Oilers. So is your allegiance with the Tennessee Titans or the Houston Texans or somebody else? How does that work?
Guess what? I don't care who wins, who loses. When I cut the cord, I cut the cord smoothly. I never look back. Don't care who wins, who loses. The game's back. That was part of my history, and I'm satisfied. I'm happy with what I did. Looking at today's game, I really don't care who wins, who loses. It doesn't faze me one way or the other. I've been to that game, to that stadium. When I say stadium, that stadium, it's the Texans Stadium. I've been in that stadium twice, and it's only like 7 minutes from my house. But when I cut the cord, like I said, that was history. That was my history. That's what I did at that time, and I don't look back. I never look back. And a lot of things that I did, even pictures that I had people show me, I tried to just put it away. And that was history. I enjoyed it. It was a wonderful ride, but life goes on for me. And a lot of players that I know still have to be tied to that. Still have to be a part of it. But in my case, when I look back, when I closed the door, I went straight to work with Anheuser-Busch. Never looked back. Like I said, I've been to 2 games here since they've been here since 2001. So it's not exciting to me anymore. I did mine, and I don't look back at anything that I did.
I was at the Hall of Fame last weekend for the inductions, and the thing I noticed is there was like 70 former or 70 Hall of Famers that came back for the ceremonies. It seems like you guys are a tight-knit, close group. You still get along well together.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the end of that on my phone.
It seems like the Hall of Famers all get along good together. I mean, for 70 Hall of Famers that come together to honor the new class, it was very impressive for me.
Oh, well, the new class, I enjoyed this new class. Last year's class, I wasn't excited about who went in. But this year, I liked it because they were linemen. Not that I'm prejudiced towards linemen, but these guys, they come with a totally different attitude. They're not no prima donnas. They don't, ride in on a great white horse and with, the throne on the. That's where some of them, I feel, come in there. Like I had where one guy came in one year, and I won't mention his name, said that he belonged in the hall. And I said, I know he didn't. He said it twice. He said, I belong here. I said, this is real nerve here. This is a guy that doesn't understand what the whole thing is all about. And I figured, I said, well, if he belongs, what do we all belong? Do we actually belong here? But this year's class, I enjoyed it because they were linemen. They finally got to do Jack Butler. I'm glad he finally took him years, 50 years, I think, somewhere around there to get in. And it was a joyous, even with Martin, the running back. It was a joyous time this year. I enjoyed everything. I went to each and everything that we were to go to. But there's always going to be things that you dislike or like about the hall and the people that you're around. But We're all in the Hall of Fame, and some of us feel that we're slighted because of we don't have that big shining light, I guess, on us, like they're running backs and all that. Yeah, we're defensive linemen, so we do one thing: we go and hurt people, knock people out. That's the part I like.
I'll tell you one thing though, the NFL's got to get someone up there when you give Len Dawson an award at the Gold Jacket ceremony, not to call him Ken Dawson.
Who was that? Ken?
They were calling him Ken Dawson, the guy who was presenting him with the award, instead of Len Dawson.
Oh yeah, yeah. I thought I was the only one that heard that, and I'm serious. I heard that. I said, "Well, I think that's not his name, but I'll let it go through." But I thought I heard that, but I'm glad somebody actually heard what I heard. But it's a time that I tell you, and when you're on that stage and you're among your friends over there, it is a great feeling. And looking back and saying, "Hey, I'm a Hall of Famer. I'm just like these guys on here. I'm like the Red Grange and the Jim Browns, and we're all in the same boat." That's the feeling. And each year I have to bench myself really with it, knowing from where I came from to where I am. But it was it's been a great ride. So just a lot of friends that we met. I've met up there.
You retired in '83. You got inducted in 2003. Is it greater gratification after all that time? You know, at that 20-year lap, you know, to say, "Hey, they're going to call my name."
Well, I got to a point that like I think it was in my 17th, 18th year out, and people say, "Oh, you're going to Hall of Fame." I say, if I haven't gone by now, I'm not worried, not concerned about it. And the craziest thing, the day I got the call, I was working with Anheuser-Busch and at the time, and I was heading to the meeting in St. Louis, and the guy called me and said, "Oh, you're in the Hall of Fame, and your name's." And I said, "You know what? Until I see it, and someone calls me and tells me, I won't believe it." But it's a time that I never thought that would ever happen to me, honestly. I never dawned on me as I always thought my numbers weren't enough. And I was playing on a very bad team. I mean, how many Pro Bowls, that I'd gone to, which helped me, but how many winning seasons that on the team that I was on, all the teams but it all, I guess things happen. Something, as I said, things happen to babies and fools. So I guess it happened for me, and I did not ever expect it. Honestly, never expected, and even I didn't even follow the Hall of Fame. Honestly, but I'm just a simple person, and it's a very humbling feeling that to say that. And every time I look at my jacket or looking at a picture with myself in the hall, I'm saying this is. I always tell people the votes could have gone. One vote could have gone the wrong way for me, and could have been another 20 years. So, but I'm very happy I'm there, and I wear the jacket very proudly, and I go back every year. They have a parade that's second to none. It's better than a Macy's parade. Over 250,000 people every year, each and every year I've gone there, and that we have a parade on Saturday, and it's about 2 hours long, and it's just amazing how people come out to see us, just to wave at us, just to say, and always the one thing they always say, "Thank you for coming back." That's what really helps, and it makes me feel that I've accomplished all of my goals, and finally getting a little accolades for what I did. So I guess I got to say one thing. There was one kid was standing on the side about my second year, and he had a cardboard box or a piece of paper. He had cut off a cardboard and had on it, "You coming back to Canton, priceless." And that's what sold me. I said, I'll be here every year. So
I'll tell you what, though, you were successful not only as a football player, but again, you worked for Anheuser-Busch and you wrote a book. Yes. What did you do for Anheuser-Busch?
Well, our first 10 years, I was an area manager. Then I went to a market manager. Then I went to what they call a merchandising manager. And for my last 5 years, I was in governmental affairs. That's where all the money was, fellas. That's what. It's not in the beer. It's in the governmental affairs. But I was there for 26 years. 26 years. So I prepared myself. And the thing is, you had to prepare yourself from day one. I was always working. When I joined the team in '68 during off season, you had to have a job, because we wouldn't make the big money that they're making now. So you had to have something to carry you over from December to August for training camp. With the salaries that we were making, you had to have two salaries coming in. But
in some ways, that's probably more beneficial than these guys who get a lot of money, and then when their careers are over, they don't have a clue what to do.
Exactly. Well, that's why all of us that worked at that time, we all wound up joining a company, from telephone to Anheuser-Busch to we had one guy that opened up and started his own cement company because he worked on the off season. So these were the good things. I mean, it built your foundation for what you were going to do once you retired. And once I retired, retired on December 31st, and I took 2 weeks off and went straight to work with Anheuser-Busch, because I've been working with them during off season since '78. So everything, the door closed and one thing, and I'm there at Anheuser-Busch until 2004 when I retired. So they prepared me, which was a good thing, and just keep the beat. I mean, my salary went from up here to down here in the real world now, and that was a good thing.
I'll tell you what, you're always learning something, because when I was at the Hall of Fame, I was talking to Willie Lanier, and Bob Sinclair's daughter was there, and she looked at Willie and said, "What number are you?" He goes, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "In your Hall of Fame jacket, the number, that's the number you got elected. So what number are you?"
I was number 218. I'm glad you asked that, because I opened my new jacket up. I looked inside. I said, "What is this?" So I started asking around Kenny Houston when he'd gone in, and so that's what it came to. I said, "Oh, this is okay now. At least we know what number we were when we went into the hall." And I think who was the lowest? Raymond Berry. I asked Raymond. I think Raymond was 90-something.
Trippy's got to be. Trippy's like 55.
Yeah, Trippy was 53, because he was sitting at the table with me. And if we were just talking, I'd ask his wife, I said, "What is his number?" And she asked me, says, "What number?" I said, "The number in his jacket. That's when he went. That's the number of when the day he was inducted. His number that he was inducted to the hall." So I'm 219. So I'm proud of it.
The only guy who might be lower is Chuck Bednarik.
Chuck, you're probably right, because I remember Chuck did this craziest thing. I never would have thought this, but Chuck Bednarik did. He was a guest speaker at my banquet in high school. Believe that or not. Wow. It's just amazing. I said, "Hey, I am." He was he was a speaker, and now I'm in the same boat with him. That's so cool, I think, looking back. But Chuck would have been back there earlier too. But I'm just happy to be there. I'm just happy that I have a number. A lot of people.
Not many people can say that.
Exactly.
It's a pretty exclusive club.
Yes, it is, and I'm very humbled about being a part of this club. And whatever they ask of me, I'm first one standing in line to do whatever they ask. So
just don't sell the jacket like Ricky Jackson.
I'm sorry, Ricky Jackson?
Yeah, just don't sell the jacket like he did.
Do what? He sold a jacket.
He put it on eBay this year and sold it.
No, he didn't.
He did. I saw it online.
No, you did not. I can't believe that. Are you serious?
I am. I looked it up.
I'm gonna have to look that up, because he just got in 3 years ago?
Yeah. There's only two.
Yeah,
only two people have sold their jackets. Him and Charlie Trippy. And Trippy sold his because it was so old. I think he wanted a new. They gave him a new one. So.
We're sitting at the table with me. We sat to one of our dinners together, And Charlie told his wife that I'm going to sell the jacket. So his wife said, no, we're not selling that jacket. Or, I mean, not selling or putting on eBay or whatever. And I never would have thought. I thought he was joking about it. Oh, my goodness. No, I think I'm gonna do like a number of our fellow Hall of Famers. They left this earth, and that's what they left with. I was told. So that's what I think I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'll leave this earth with, wrapped in. So
Now you're the author of Smash Mouth, my football journey from Trenton to Canton. You gonna write any more books?
No, I think if I were to write one, I don't think they would allow me to print it because it would be a tell-all. Honestly, it would be a tell-all because I just have to. You know what? If I get a little, I'm getting a little older. I'm thinking about that because there were so many things I'd like to tell that people wouldn't believe, but until then, I'll hold them back. So,
Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you.
I enjoyed every second of it, every minute of it, and I wish you all. I hope I get a chance to talk with you all down the road somewhere. So,
Sounds great.